So today we're gonna go take a look and do some testing on to see if adding more ports to your brake actually makes a difference on how much recoil you have. Let's send some rounds. So we're always working on testing here at MDT. The testing I've been doing lately is a lot of brake testing. A lot of people say 5 ports the most efficient brake you can get. So I reached out to the engineers, asked them to go and build us actually 6 brakes. So we went from a 1 port all the way up to a 6 port in 1 port increments. And now we're gonna go and test that and put some real numbers to it and see what happens. Now we're gonna go shoot these, starting at 1 port, working all the way up to 6 ports, and see what the most efficient amount of ports is on the front of your gun. We also asked Tom to come out and give us a hand today to help us record a lot of the data we're gonna be taking down.
No problem.
So we've got our testing pendulum out here again to measure the recoil. We're gonna be taking an angular measurement with a protractor here we have set up. And then we'll also have some videos so you can kind of see how far it travels on the grid here as well. Kind of give you a little bit of reference for visual. And we're gonna start with our single port brake and work up to our 6 port brake. And to try and take as much human error out of the whole system, we do have our remote control trigger system. So if I press this forward, my trigger will go off. I've got a mechanism that's built into a AICS magazine housing. And so it should be pretty cool to see how it goes. Okay, shot number 1, single port. Okay, so we're gonna do a 5-shot average. First run was 40.7. We just wanna make sure we try and get as low of a standard deviation, make sure we're getting good consistent numbers. So I'll close the bolt on this and take our next shot here. The average for the single port came out at 41 degrees of angle. So now we're gonna move on to the second port, or the 2 port, and see how that goes. Okay, so the 2 port came in at 38.3 for the average of the 5 shots. So we saw about a 2.7 degree difference between the single port and the 2 port. So I expect I'll see about the same difference on the 3 port here. We'll see how it goes. This is 3 port shot number 1.
So it's interesting, the 2 to 3 port didn't do as much as the 1 to 2 did.
Yeah, I figured that would be the case because the 1 port, it's always been the theory is the first port and a brake does the majority of the work.
The lifting, yeah.
This is the 4 port. First round, I'm gonna test it. Okay, so we're 2 degrees less than the 3 port on our 4 port. I think we're gonna start seeing a diminishing return on the 5 port and go down from there. So we'll check it out. So going from the 4 port to the 5 port, we actually saw an increase in recoil. We were actually less than half a degree difference. It was actually 0.4 of a degree difference between the 2. So now we're gonna go on to the 6 port and see if it's even less or see if it's the same or where we're at. So let's send some rounds. So between the 6 port and the 5 port, we got about a 0.7 degrees of angle reduction. It's actually more than between the 4 port and the 5 port. We actually saw an increase of recoil. Really, when we're getting that low of a difference, it's coming down to the error of the equipment we're using on this. So we can measure it to a certain amount of accuracy, but after a certain point, it just gets lost in the noise. So, but when we do see massive changes between like the 3 port and the 4 port, that's where the big changes are happening. We're having a 2 degrees of angle change in that area, and then it drops off substantially, almost to hard to measure. The 4 port seems to be the ideal amount of ports that you need. Past that, you're just adding extra weight to the end of your barrel, making your barrel a little longer, kind of making it look a little goofy, in our opinion, or my opinion. And at a certain point, you just don't need more ports.